What's up, freaks and geeks? Welcome to Lateral Move, no PC culture, all comedy, everything. We keeping it 1,000. I'm RJ Bam. Thanks for fucking with me. Welcome to the show. And it's been a minute, man. It's been a minute since it's just been you and me. So much has happened. I keep having guests on. I started a second podcast. We got a sports show. So much been going on in my life. We trying to entertain you motherfuckers. And I appreciate you guys listening every time. You know, we learn and we growing. This podcast is growing. This community is growing. We got more views every week. We got more views on the YouTube. The YouTube is brand new. It's wide open. We got the full episodes on the YouTube for both pass interference and for lateral move. We have, we record pass interference every Sundays before the games, and I upload it by that night. And then we do the lateral move during the week. So it's been a minute, man, since man, why do I sound like I'm out of breath? God damn it, this intro is wearing me out. Oh, let's start this off, man. I'm facing the wrong goddamn direction. I should be facing this way because that's where the desk is at. Damn it, I fucked up. I'm gonna put that shit off screen. There's a lot to talk about, but before we even get started on the meat and potatoes, let me get some of the appetizers out the way, man. If you guys have not checked it out, go check out Bill Burr's new comedy special on Netflix. It's called Paper Tiger. It is a banger. It's by far his best work, in my opinion. He's the living GOAT, man. He's the GOAT of comedy right now. He's, you know, there's been one other GOAT in my eye. There's GOATs. Everyone's got their own opinion. There's GOATs everywhere. You know, you got the Carlins and you got the Pryors from back in the day. Then you got, you know, Chappelle. He's a GOAT. He's a living GOAT. For me, the GOAT for me is and always will be Patrice O'Neal. I think he was just so ahead of his time, just unrelentingly himself. He was brutally honest, and he made fun of that term. And he's just, for me anyway, the embodiment of what comedy should be, how to push the envelope, how to not sacrifice who you are in order to just make it. He was never, and that it came at a cost for him because he was just alive at just an unfortunate time where he wasn't able to have his own platform like we are these days, and he passed, R.I.P. But that's the GOAT, man. But after him, and it's interesting because Bill Burr grew up on the East Coast with Patrice. They did a lot of shows in their formative years together, and right now, to me, Bill Burr's the GOAT. And so Paper Tiger is his came out last week. His to date, his most recent stand-up special. And it is so funny, man. It is so fucking funny. I haven't laughed that hard in a special in a long time. He is a genius. And Chappelle came out with another one too. Chappelle came out with one, Sticks and Stones, a couple weeks ago. It's also funny. It's a funny, it's not, in my opinion, Chappelle's stand-up is like an art that somebody drew like on a canvas. It's like something you can just play in the background and you can just listen to, and you don't necessarily even have to laugh, because I don't actually think it's really super funny, but it pushes the envelope. It does give a middle finger to PC culture, which we've always approved of here on Lateral Move. And it's more of an art piece than a stand-up special, and I don't mean that in any disrespect. It's just it's something that you can just have on and enjoy listening to without necessarily laughing. And for me, and I'm glad that he was able to say the things that he said on there and really push back on this. No, you can't say that, dude. You're not allowed to say that, on that whole thing. But Bill Burr just comes in and kicks the fucking door down. And he doesn't use any slurs the way Chappelle did, but definitely was pushing against PC culture for sure. And not only that, God, it's so fucking funny, man. And Bill Burr has great bits over the years. His Schwarzenegger bit about great men and gold digging whores is legendary, and you should definitely, if you haven't listened to that, you can find that on YouTube. His bit on his dog before he gave him up is so fucking funny. His frame of mind of what the dog is thinking versus you, like, is it the door? Are you mad at the door? For anybody that's listened to that stand up, you'll know what I'm talking about. Dude, Bill Burr is the living goat to me, man. He's so fucking good. And listening to this stand up, it kind of bummed me out a little bit, just because he has a bit in there, and you can listen to it. I'm not giving anything away. It's already up on Netflix, but he's got a bit in there about sex robots, which I have a bit about sex robots as well. And he's a way bigger name than I will be, or I ever will be, probably. And I almost have to retire that bit. It's not even the same joke. It just uses a similar premise. And the way he took that joke is actually in a different direction than I did. So I'm a little bummed. I might have to retire that joke. Because I don't want anybody thinking I stole the joke, especially after he has his he's the biggest comedian, and he has a special out on the biggest platform. So I don't want anybody to think, oh man, RJ out here stealing jokes or something like that. This is not the case. I came up with that joke like a few months ago. I never even heard Bill Burr stuff, but like at the same time, Whitney Cummings came out with a whole fucking hour special on sex robots, and then Burr released his special after hers, and he has a little bit on sex robots and stuff. So maybe I might still do my joke, because it's a different punchline, and who's to, like, people, there's no way you're ever gonna do comedy about a certain topic that's never been talked about. Everyone, like, whenever Trump got into office, everyone got a Trump joke. So maybe I'll still do it. By the time I release mine, like, it's gonna be down the road anyway, so it's not, Burr's special is not gonna be brand new like it is right now. But for anybody that has an hour to spare, that just wants to laugh their ass off, and you're a fan of comedy as we are here, go check out Paper Tiger on Netflix, man. It is well worth your time. It's fucking hilarious. He absolutely kills it. Bill Burr doing Bill Burr shit, man. Like I said, I can't say anything more. He's the fucking GOAT. A couple of other housekeeping notes that we want to get over, that I want to talk about before we even get to the meat and potatoes of this podcast, which I don't even know what the fuck we gonna talk about today, because like the stuff that I have notes on is stuff from like a few weeks ago, and in that time I've had guests on, I've had my past interference, so it's like stuff that's like not quite as relevant now as it was back then, but we might still talk about it. But a couple of things that we did see over the weekend, Saturday night, two fights that happened in MMA. It was the Cowboy Cerrone versus Justin Gaethje fight. That came first. It happened earlier. That one happened before the Wilder, or I mean not the Wilder, but the Fury and Volume fight. But so Cowboy Gaethje. The rest of the card, I'm trying to think who else was on that card that I watched. Yeah, the rest of the card was good. Curtis Blades went in and did his thing. But the main card that I wanted to see was definitely Cowboy Gaethje. That was a big fight. They used to be training partners. They're friends. They're still currently friends. They're real cool with each other. They don't want to keep fighting, or they don't want to fight each other. But it's like, I mean, one's number 5 and one's number 6. They gotta fight each other. They're in the same division, and they're no longer training partners. They don't fight at the same camp anymore. But they are good friends. And historically, Cowboy, when he fights against somebody who's like his friend, he dominates. And anytime somebody else is the bully against Cowboy, he doesn't do so good, i.e. Nate Diaz back in the day. But and back in the day when Gaethje was first coming up, brand new rookie to the game, Cowboy was one of his sparring partners, and Cowboy actually knocked out Gaethje in training camp, so he did have that over his head. Cowboy's been on a tear ever since he had his kid, man. He's just been nonstop. He's been killing it. He had that one loss to, was it Was it? It wasn't Tony. He had that one recent loss. Was it to Showtime Pettis? I can't remember. He recently had a loss, but outside of that, he's been killing it. And then and Gaethje, man, I think he's like 18-2 in the UFC. He's a monster. He's a phenomenal wrestler from college, and someone who's got great anti-wrestling. He's got phenomenal wrestling, just never uses it because he's like, yo, I'm going in there for a bloodbath. I'm going in there to knock them out, or I'm getting knocked out. He says that himself. He's like, that's the way I fight. That's the most exciting shit to me, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm coming for your fucking head. Which makes, for casual fans, that's what they want to see. For me, personally, I would like to not see him fight like that because he's so fucking talented. I could see him being a dual threat MMA fighter on the ground and stand up, but he refuses to do that. But so the fight happens Saturday night, and going in, Cowboy is the underdog. Gaethje is the favorite. Rightly so. Cowboy just been in there for so long. Gaethje's a young blood, and he's hungry, and he's on a tear. And I was worried for Cowboy in this fight. My money was on Gaethje, and Gaethje went in and delivered, man. He came in, and he TKO'd Cowboy. I can't remember. Was it the first round or the second round? I can't remember. I think it was the first round. But yeah, I think it was like 4 minutes and 15 seconds of the first round. It's like, so it was very towards the end of the first round. Cowboy goes in, overextends, and Gaethje just catches him and then wobbles him and then hits him with a couple of barrage of punches, knocks him down. He's hitting Cowboy. The ref's not stopping in. And the Gaethje's like, yo, what the fuck are we doing, man? He's out. And the ref's like, no. And then he hits him a few more times. The ref still doesn't go in. And Gaethje's like, what the fuck are you doing? And Gaethje lands maybe one more shot and the ref jumps in, which I personally think the ref, it's Cowboy, so you don't want him to like think that he got stopped early. But at the same time, yo, he was taking shots to the dome. And he could have easily stopped it after Cowboy fell to the ground for the first time. But still, Cowboy was fine after the fight. He gave his props to Gaethje. Gaethje gave all his love to Cowboy, and then they were asking him. DC went in there to interview, and DC asked him, "Who you want next, man? You looking at the Irishman? You looking at a fucking Russian? What are your thoughts?" And Cowboy, and Gaethje was like, "Yo, look here, man." And him and Conor have been going back and forth. They've been talking a lot of shit to each other, and he's like, "Yo, the Irishman's retired, man. He ain't coming back. Let's stop talking about the Irishman. I want the winner of Khabib and Tony," which, by the way, Khabib and Tony is the only fight to make it 155. I don't want to see Khabib fight nobody else. I don't want to see that Conor rematch. Conor got his ass whooped for 4 rounds before he tapped. I don't want to see Khabib fight anybody else other than Tony Ferguson, because I think Tony Ferguson is the only man on that roster that can give Khabib a run for his money. Now, Gaethje says he wants Khabib, but Gaethje's a stand-up fighter, and he's going to bring the pressure. I don't know what Gaethje's going to do when he gets taken to the ground. Gaethje likes to stand up. Gaethje's phenomenal on the ground, but he does not use it. He doesn't use the tools that's in his belt. He just throws it to the back. He curves that. He turns the belt to the back. He's like, these tools are back here. I don't use them. I just use the hammer and the fucking saw. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And I would love to. I would be interested to see what he does against Khabib, but if he's going in there just to strike with Khabib, I don't want to see it. Every single person that's a phenomenal striker has been in there. Poirier went in there, laid it on him in the second round too. Was knocking Khabib and still didn't have an effect. Khabib's got a chin, man. Khabib has a chin on him. He's rarely been tested. He's rarely been hit. He's got a fresh chin, and it don't matter. And he wears you the fuck out in the first round, so your power shot's not as strong. And the only way to beat Khabib is not this whole, I'm going to weather the storm, wear him out, and then take over in the 4th and 5th round. That shit does not work. The only way to beat Khabib is to attack Khabib where he likes to do the attacking. Okay? If Khabib takes you down, most people are like, we're going to weather the storm and let's see if I can sneak out of here. We got to have somebody that's... Khabib's top game is unbelievable. He's 155 pounds, and everyone says he feels like a heavyweight when he's on top. And what we need is somebody whose bottom game is unmatched. And the only two people that I can think of that have that, Tony Ferguson and Brian Ortega, and that's it. And the difference between the two of them is that Tony's striking is way above Brian's, and Tony's, first of all, Brian is also a weight class below, so I don't want to see a 45 come up to 5 Khabib. It's not what I want to see. Second of all, Tony's Ferguson's cardio is unrivaled. He runs circles around every single person on the UFC roster, including Max Holloway. You know what I'm saying? Max is known for his cardio, and Tony, dude, look, Tony's got the most ridiculous cardio, the most ridiculous, unorthodox, awkward fighting. He does wild shit in the ring or in the octagon that you can't prepare for it. Tony's one of the few people that you just cannot prepare for. He's got awkward style. He's not afraid to do the shit that he does in training on the main stage. Most people can be phenomenal in training, and when it comes to the main stage, you're like, yo, I'm not going to risk something just by getting clipped or whatever. Tony's like, I'm throwing that caution to the wind. I'm going to do the wild shit that I do because this is who I am. You hear that shit? I don't know what the fuck that sound is. But yeah, so, but Justin Gaethje looked phenomenal. And in his last 4 fights, I know he switched training camps, and I don't know what he did, but Justin Gaethje, it's like he's on a whole nother level now. He's knocking people out in the first round every single time. He's going in there with cement in his hands, and he's laying you the fuck out. So I'm excited, man. And then he was like, yo, whoever the winner to that, I want that. If it's me and Khabib, I got the answer to Khabib. And if it's me and Tony, if it ends up being me and Tony, how's that not sell over 10 million views? You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody wants to see that fight, is what he said. So, yeah, that's definitely the fight I want to see. And so, yeah, Tony Khabib, please, for the love of God. And Dana said today, Tony is obviously the fight that we're going to make for Khabib. And if for some untold reason, because they try to make this fight 3 or 4 times now already, and every time weird shit happens, and he's like, if it falls through again, Conor's #1 in line. And I thought, for the love of God, don't let that fall through, because I do not want to see another Irish ass whooping for 4 rounds, and probably sooner, actually. So, but man, if you guys missed it, watch the replay on YouTube. Gaethje, it's not very long. It's 4 minutes and like 15 seconds, but Gaethje, Cowboy, it's a phenomenal display of what Gaethje can do. He's just on a whole nother level now, man. Gaethje's always been good. He had a few rough moments where he did get knocked out, but like, so he has 2 losses in the UFC, but that's nothing, bro. He's still growing. He's still young. He's like in his mid-20s. Is he 24? He's a monster. And so definitely got to see that fight. And for some reason, Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman has not been set yet. For some reason, I think Kamaru was saying he wanted more money than what they were offering him to fight Colby. But that is a fight that's also interesting because they both very similar fighters, very similar fighting styles. Who can put the pace on you better between the two? Kamaru is a taller, bigger man. Kamaru has the reach advantage. I think Kamaru has a little bit better gas tank, but they both got really good gas tanks. So I don't think that's going to be the limiting factor. Between the two, they're both phenomenal wrestlers. I actually think Colby is a more decorated wrestler than Kamaru. Kamaru was a D2 wrestler. Colby was D1. But outside of that, they're really similar fighters, and they both hate each other, talking a lot of shit. I just need that fight to get made. There are certain fights that I wanted to see happen over the years that just never got to be. I wanted to see DC John a heavyweight, and that's probably never going to happen now. You know, And I've always wanted to see I've always wanted to see Tony Khabib, and that is yet to happen. But here's the crazy thing about that. If it would have happened all those times prior to now, it wouldn't be to find out who the best 155er is. All that shit that happened prior, all the ACL tears, the weight cut misses, all that forced those two to fight other people and each clean out the division. And has come down. For a while, people were like, it's come down to 3 people: Conor, Khabib, and Tony. And right now, we found out it's not Conor. And hey, I could have told you that 2 years ago when he last fought. But it's literally has come down to Tony and Khabib. They've both cleaned out the division. They both have phenomenal wins under the belt. One is undefeated, 28-0, I think. Is he 29-0 now? Was he? I think he was 27-0 before he fought Conor. Then he was 28-0, and I think now he's 29-0. That's unheard of in the UFC. Unheard of in mixed martial arts. And Tony's Tony, man. He's the boogeyman. El Kakui. Got to see that fight. That went on a little longer than I thought it was going to be. But the other fight that happened very quickly right after that, well, not very quickly because the prelims were going on, or the undercard was happening, or not the undercard, the main card was happening, but like the co-main was fighting right after the Gaethje fight. But Fury Wallin. Now Fury was 28-0 going into this fight. Wallin was 20-0. Fury 6'9", you know. Wallin was 6'5", but he looked really small compared to Fury. Fury looked so much bigger than him. Now, the big fight, obviously, because, look, we just watched Anthony Joshua lose three belts in that fight against Andy Ruiz, who came in on, like, a, 6-week notice to fight him because whoever the fuck he was supposed to fight pissed hot. And then he came in. And this is, and I was telling people at work, man, I was like, yo, they were asking me a long time ago, they're like, yo, what do you think between Joshua Wilder? And I was like, yo, if Joshua fights Wilder, he's going to get fucked up. He's going to get exposed because Joshua looks like a Greek god. He looks like Adonis, but he fights bums. That's all it is. He fights bums, and he's been dodging, and him and Eddie Hearn know they've been dodging Wilder for a while. And the thing about the way Joshua fights, but they're like, oh, he's so much more technical. Wilder doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Wilder won. Okay, first of all, Wilder started boxing when he was like 19, 20 years old. Other people started Floyd Mayweather started boxing when he was like 4. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? That's a 16-year advantage on Wilder. And Wilder's such a good athlete. He was able to start at like 19, 20, win bronze in the Olympics. Are you shitting me? That's unbelievable. And like he's the Mike Tyson of the current era because in that fight against Fury, he weighed 209 pounds. Fury weighed like 260. 209 pounds and knocked Fury on his ass, okay? Like, he's got bricks for hands. And Joshua fights. Yeah, he's a technical fighter, but Joshua likes to exchange. And if he exchanges with Wilder, he's going night-night. And we found out real quick he's not the dude. Now, the interesting thing, there's a couple of caveats to this because from what I've read, that fight against Andy Ruiz in his training camp leading up to that fight, Joshua got knocked out in training camp. Now, that is a big deal because when you get your bell rung like that and you actually get knocked out in training camp, your likeliness of taking a shot and surviving has gone down. So going into that fight, he was already one. I don't think there's a couple of things. One, he was already damaged going in, so that dirty boxing style when Andy Ruiz gets in close, like he was way more susceptible to that knockout because he already had his bell rung. But 2, he also got exposed. 1, I don't think he also went in not respecting Andy Ruiz the way he should have, and he knocked Andy Ruiz down in like the 4th round, I think. Andy Ruiz came back like a fucking monster and knocked him down. But we learned that Joshua, if we learn anything from that DC Stipe fight, Stipe sat out for a year and a half. That first fight, Stipe had almost gotten knocked out by Francis Ngannou just a few months before that DC fight. He weathered the storm of Francis, and when he fought DC, lights out. Then he waits a year and a half, takes a big-ass break, doesn't fight anybody, comes in, gets those same shots landed on him from DC, survives. What does that tell you? That brain damage, that rattling in your brain, like if it's very recent, it's going to have more of an effect than if you've had a little bit of time. Now, CTE is CTE. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your ability to stay awake in the fight when you get smashed. So this time around, the Ruiz fight, I think he has a better shot this time. But the other thing, on the other hand, the caveat to that is no one wins in boxing in the rematch. If you lose the first one, you're likely, more times than not, you lose the rematch because the other person already figured you out, and they're just gonna do it faster this time. Which, if I'm a betting man, gun to the head. Look, gun to my head, I say Andy Ruiz knocks out Joshua faster than he did the first time. That's gun to my head. That's what I think. Now, anyway, that's not what this is about, but that's a prime example of what the fuck is going on, because at that point, there was 3 heavyweights in the world that you wanted to see, and you had to figure out who was the best, and Joshua, dodging all these fights against Wilder and Fury, went off, fought Andy Ruiz, lost all his titles. Now, cut to Fury and Wilder fight. They have a crazy fight. Fury actually won in points. He was teeing him up. He was, that jab was sticking. In terms of points, I had Fury winning, but then Wilder landed a couple of two knockdowns. One where one in the 12th round, where it's like, yo, this motherfucker's got power. Deep into the 12th round, he still got power. It's insane. And so for that fight to end in a draw, I said, okay, good. I'm fine with that. I'm okay with draw. We don't give out draws enough. We give somebody a loss, and it fucks up their record because that means so much in boxing. But they both did the draw, and now the money rematch. The rematch is where the money is at, and then Fury goes off, signs with ESPN, and then that fucks up the party because now it's like they're setting him up with other fights. And then he had to fight Valine, and then Fury, and then and then so Fury set up that fight with Valine, and then Wilder was like, all right, fine, I'm not gonna wait around. Like I'm you know what? I'm gonna prove that I'm the best. I'm gonna go ahead and fight Luis Ortiz for a second time. Now, that is a tough fight. Luis Ortiz is 170 years old. That Cuban motherfucker. Every single time he fights, he says he's 40. He's been saying that for like at least a decade. So we know he's not 40. That dude is a southpaw, powerful, great striker, great footwork, very technical. He was a tough fight for Wilder the first time. He knocked down Wilder, and we learned that Wilder can come against adversity. He fought back after getting knocked down, and he won. And did he knock... Oh, shit, I can't remember. God, my memory's terrible. Did he knock out Ortiz, or did he just win in decision? I can't remember. No, he knocked out Ortiz. He had to have knocked out, because there's only 2 fights that he didn't knock somebody out. That was Stavern the first time, and that was Fury when he fought him. I think those are the only 2. He's fucking 40. Is he 40 0-1 or 39 0-1? I think he's 39. I think he's 39 0-1. 39 with 38 knockouts. I don't know when that went off. For anybody that it goes off at every 30 minutes, and usually I can hear it, and I didn't hear it, but I did catch it within the last 5 minutes. So I don't know what part you guys missed, but basically Fury missed the Fury just outclassed him, outbullied him. Really, he just used his big body, and he did beat Valine. And now he's gonna sit out till 2020. Anybody listening on the audio, by the way, if you're on audio, everything's perfect. No issues whatsoever. If you're watching this on video on YouTube, this fucking Sony camera. Why would you build a camera that only records 30 minutes at a time? And people that are listening to like, yo, you got a fucking hack for that. Yeah, I know there's a hack for that, motherfucker. I looked this shit up first. I tried to use it. I went online, did all the shit that I followed the steps. It didn't undo it. The shit still records 30 minutes at a time. Hey, Sony, why you building a camera that only records 30 minutes at a time? Kind of. That's fucking stupid. Why would you do that? Goddamn Sony. These retarded motherfuckers at Sony only building a camera that records 30 minutes at a time, man. It's 2019. What you record till the power or the storage goes out, huh? How about that? This is so stupid. It's idiot. It's literally idiotic for you to even build a camera that only. Why would you put that in there? So dumb. Oh my god, it infuriates me so much. If you couldn't tell. So yeah, for any new listeners, if you're watching the video, you're gonna get a cut right at the 30-minute mark and another cut at the 60-minute mark if I go over an hour. You will know if from watching Pass Interference it cuts out every 30 minutes. But for any new listeners, yeah, the video cuts out. Audio's perfect. Audio straight, wire to wire, you're good. So, but yeah, those are the fights from the weekend, and fucking great fights. Enjoyed them thoroughly. But yeah, so what the fuck has been going on? We'll talk about a couple things in the media, and then I'll give you guys a story before we get out of here. But some of this stuff that I already talked to about on Pass Interference, and I don't want to step too much on the reason I'm talking about the fight game on here is because Pass Interference is so NFL and NBA heavy. We never really talk about boxing or MMA because I mean Alex ain't really that big on the fight game, and I am. So I'm just getting through it now. I'll do it on my own podcast. But so Kevin Hart got in a car accident. Kevin Hart's been in the media a couple of times now, and one thing that he got in the car accident with his family, and then he had to go get fucking back surgery apparently. He's okay. He lived, obviously. He had back surgery where he had to fuse his discs, apparently is what I read. Now, that's what I heard, it's what I read, and I didn't do any more research on it. So if anything is different, please correct me. But from what I heard, he had to get his discs fused, which is goddamn. I didn't look at the crash. I didn't look at any video or any of that. I just read the story, so I don't know how bad of a crash it was, but for him to have to get discs fused must have been pretty fucking bad. One of those lucky to be alive kind of crashes is what it must have been. The weird thing that I heard about it is that when he was found by the cops, they said he was in the driver's seat, and then in the video that they released, I heard he was in the passenger seat. So I don't know what the fuck is going on with that. That seems kind of weird. But outside of that, lucky that he's alive. You know, the biggest touring stand-up ever. Can't lose that guy. He's got his hands in a little bit of everything. So shouts out to Kevin and his family. You know, glad nothing any more serious than what happened, and glad you're still there. But outside of that, man, he was also in the media. You already know him from the Oscars a few months back, that he always wanted to host the Oscars, and finally got a chance to, in all this homophobic tweet shit that he already apologized for back in the day, resurfaces, and he's like, yo, look, I'm not going to apologize for this again. And then he went on a long-ass press tour apologizing for it, according to Chappelle. And he withdrew his name from that. But, so there was that. And then what surfaced after the accident was he was on a TV, I forget what show he was on, where it was him, Lil Nas X, a few other celebrities. Charlemagne was there, I think. I forgot what show that was on, but they were there. And they were basically talking about Lil Nas X coming out saying that he was gay or bi. I can't remember. Dude, I'm doing a terrible job researching, huh? He was either gay or bi or dead or alive or something. Who knows? And he was like, yo, basically what he was saying was, if I were to come out and say I was gay, the topic was about like why he came out in the first place, and he was like, if I would have come out and said I was gay when because he had a #1 hit single, and he has another song that's doing really well. Now here's the thing, he knows for a fact, as big as Old Town Road is, he'll never have another song that's as big as that. He knows that, and so for his next song that he has, I forgot what it's called, but it's a good song, and it's on the charts. It's not #1, but it's on the charts. And so he was like, if I was to release this information when my career is on the decline or down low, it will look like I'm doing it purely for publicity, and I don't want that. That's why I'm doing this while I'm still at the top. This is why I'm doing this while I'm still on top of the game, while I'm still, you know, whatever the fuck. While I'm still relevant, while I'm still popular or whatever. I'm doing this because now I have nothing. I'm not doing this purely for publicity or something like that. I'm doing this because I want to let people know, you know, anybody, like, it's okay to be gay. It's okay to do this, that, and the other. It's be true to yourself. And me coming out and saying this, I might have something to lose. And so it's proven that I'm doing this because I don't want to live a lie. I want to be true to myself. And what Kevin was saying sounded like they did a good job of making it sound weird, because he was like, "You're gay, so he's gay. Who gives a shit? Who cares? He's gay. Who cares?" They made it sound like, yo, man, nobody cares, man. Get the fuck out of here, man. You gay? Nobody cares. Who cares, man? Get the fuck out of here. That's what they made it sound like. But what he was trying to say was, the fact that you're gay is not what people see. They see you as an artist. Who cares if you're gay? Who cares if you're straight? Who cares if you're trans or whatever? Who cares about these labels that people want to put on you? What we see, or what I see at least, or what we all should see, what the majority of people see, only those few triggered assholes don't see, is we're looking at you as an individual. We're not looking at you as you fit in this box, so you represent this. No. You represent you, man, and like, you can be a fucking inspiration to all these other people that if they want to stay in boxes, they can. If they don't have to. But like, we're looking at you as an individual, as a person, and that's what we're basing this on. Who cares if you're gay? Who cares if you're straight? Who cares if you're bi? Who cares if you're injured, paraplegic? It doesn't matter. Like, what matters is who you are as a person. And that's what we should focus on. Now, granted, Kevin was drunk as shit at this point. Kevin was definitely tipsy, was drinking on some of that dark liquor or whatever he likes to drink. And it's very apparent that he is not in his sober mind. That being said, what he was trying to say was clear to me. And but he was getting flack for it. So, like, yo, it's motherfuckers just... We live in a time, man, where, like, certain people just want to stir that shit up. People just want to see people fall. People want to see great men fail. It's just what it is, man. I don't know who these people are and what miserable lives you're living, but those that go out trying to seek and destroy other people's lives, it's like, yo, you're sad on the inside. We get it, man. Like, just instead of attacking other people and trying to destroy their platform and make sure they never work again or what the fuck ever, like, why don't you look within you and see what's making you sad or what's making you upset and miserable and fix that, man? Like I said, like we say here every fucking week, no PC culture, all comedy, everything. We keeping it 1,000. We do not give a fuck. We're not here to cater to you. We at Lateral Move are here to cater to us. We make the jokes that we find are funny, and the people that fuck with us will find us and fuck with us for them. I don't want a 10 bajillion followers, man. I just want the loyal followers that will listen forever. Those are the people that I'm catering to. So anybody else that don't want to fuck with us, whatever, bro. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain people that just want to, like, see others fail because they're just miserable on the inside. So it's wild. Going off of that, though, speaking of hip hop and stuff like that, you see A$AP Rocky's lawyer from Sweden got shot in the chest and head? Huh? Yo, you telling me the dude that helped get him off is dead now? Sweden, what the fuck is going on in your country? y'all try to play it off like, ooh, we are not here, we're just trying to do our own thing, and we're just trying to have fun, we want to stay. I mean, Swiss are the ones that are neutral. I don't know where Sweden lands in terms, I know they're super progressive in terms of like socially and with women's rights and gays and stuff like that. But in terms of racism, they're right up there with racism because they were trying to make examples out of black men that come into Sweden, bro. It's wild out there. And then now the dude that got A$AP Rocky off is dead, shot in the chest and head. I didn't read that he was dead, but I'm assuming from the title that he was shot in the head and chest. I'm assuming he's dead. Not many people get shot in the head and chest and survive. If he did survive, holy shit, let's talk to that guy. But, yeah, shit is wild. All this is just making me not want to go to Sweden ever. You know? That's all that's making me do. I'm like, yo, Sweden, stay clear of that motherfucker, bro. When I go on the European World Tour, we just going to go ahead and skip Sweden altogether. I'm sorry for any Swedish fans out there, but y'all going to have to go next door to, like, Denmark or some shit. And in other news, Nicki Minaj retires. Interesting thing about this is that Nicki Minaj has been on the steady decline for about 2 years now. She came in hot when Wayne, Cash Money, Young Money, Cash Money, signed 2 small artists to really push their line, and those 2 small artists were named Drake and Nicki Minaj, and those 2 came into Wayne's perfectly designed crew. They taught them exactly how to rap. They all were rapping very similar. They had Drake on the hooks. They were trying to make Drake into the new Roscoe Dash, and then Drake was like, yo, I can sing and rap, and then he was like, Drake changed the game, did that melodic rap shit, changed the game. I mean, other people had done it in the past, but not to the extent that he did it. And then he literally changed the game to where everybody was trying to be like Drake. And then Nicki was like, yo, I can sing too. And then all of a sudden she was singing. And then now Nicki Minaj blew up and became the biggest female MC ever. There were other people that paved the way for her. Lil' Kim, Queen Latifah. The biggest one may be Missy Elliott. Remy Ma, you know. All these other people had been there before her. But Nicki Minaj came into the game when female MCs were kind of hit or miss. They were kind of dying off, not really blowing up the way that people anticipated. Obviously, like Queen Latifah had did her thing back in the day, went into acting and stuff like that. Lil' Kim had her spit with Bad Boy and stuff like that, and she was trying to resurge her career. And then Missy Elliott was definitely the biggest. She was popular all through the late 90s, 2000s, and there was like a gap there for female MCs, and Nicki Minaj came in and took the throne. And she came in and took it heavy, and she was killing the game. And she was literally sitting at the top by herself. All the other females that were on top of music were all in pop, R&B, whatever, right? And so she's sitting at the top of hip-hop. And not only was she sitting at the top of female hip-hop, Nicki Minaj was sitting at the top with the dude. She was like on a lot of people's lists of current top 5 people. God damn it, my fucking startup disk is almost full. Jesus Christ, get the fuck out of here. Just give me 10 more minutes, Mac. God damn. I'll clear some shit out in 10 minutes. Can you give me 10 minutes? She was sitting at the top of rap in people's like top 10s, top 5 even, of current rappers. She was in mine for sure. And then all of a sudden, a new wave of people started coming in. A little girl named Cardi B came along on Love and Hip Hop, and people really loved her attitude and her fucking being real, just being absolutely real and true to herself, and people fell in love with her personality, right? And that goes a lot further than people falling in love with just your art. right? And so people fell in love with her personality. She got into the music game, started rapping, and that was a big effect on Nicki, and she did not like that. And all of a sudden, she started getting real salty, and then people really started hating Nicki because they're like, yo, this, like, they hated Nicki, and then stuff started coming out about Nicki being a diva, about this, that, and the other, hard to work with, blah, blah, blah. People like, she just got a bad vibe from you. She would ask you out forever. Tory Lanez had an issue with her. Like, a bunch of people had an issue with her. And so since then, like, she started being on the decline, and then Cardi B became the biggest female artist in hip hop. And then ever since then, like, other people started coming in. Megan Thee Stallion, City Girls came in. A lot of other people started coming in. And Nicki Minaj was just doing whatever just to keep her name relevant. It got really sad at one point, because then she started just like trying to start Twitter beef with people just to keep her name relevant. And then it finally got to the point where, like, I don't even know how her last album did, Queen or whatever. Like, there's a few songs on there that I liked. I mean, I definitely have it on my Spotify, but like, I only listen to like 2 songs on there. Like, it wasn't as big as Pink Print, that's for sure. It's a bummer to see, because I think Nicki is really talented as a rapper, as a lyricist. I think she's really talented. She's got good flow. She's definitely learned a lot being on Young Money, Cash Money, and she was definitely on top of the game. And if she was just a better person, it would have worked out better for her. So it finally came down to her saying, yo, I'm retiring from rap. I'm gonna focus on family. And then, like, which I was like, I don't know what that means, because does she even got a man? Is she trying to have a kid? She wants to have a family? Is she even with somebody? I stopped paying attention altogether, so I don't even know the answer to those questions. But she's retiring, and she made a big hoopla about this is my official retirement. And hearing Nicki Minaj retired from rap is like hearing Tony Kukoc retired from basketball. It's like, all right, like, if when Jordan and Pippen retired, it was like, oh shit, J. Cole retired, oh shit, Kendrick retired, you know what I mean? Oh shit, Drake retired, Tony Kukoc retired. You know what I mean? It's like Horace Grant retired. Cool. I mean, you know, great career, rings, whatever. But all right, we'll be fine. We'll be fine without you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Even like Sean. Is it Sean Livingston? Why do I feel like that's wrong? From the Warriors, Livingston. He retired, and even that was a bigger deal than Nicki Minaj retiring. For him, it's like, yo, you stuck with it with the Warriors. You got them rings. You got them trophies. Like, good on you. People love you, and you were a phenomenal, like, supporting cast player. And you played the game as like a teammate and somebody who was there as a supporting role, and people gave a fuck about you. And I gave a fuck about that retirement way more than Nicki's retirement. You know what I'm saying? At this point, it's like Connor repeating that he's retiring for like the 7th time. It's like, yo, shut the fuck. Like, nobody cares. Cool. You're retired? Cool. We'll see you next month when you say some other shit about coming back. Which also, as soon as the Dustin Poirier Khabib fight happened, Connor was like, book my rematch from Moscow. No, bro. No. No one want to see that shit. 0 people want to see that shit. You got your ass whooped for 4 rounds. Ain't nobody trying to see another ass whooping in Russia this time. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, you got your ass whooped at home. And Madison Square Garden's got a big Irish following there. I mean, there's a lot of Russians there too who flew in. But like, outside of the people that flew in, Madison Square Garden, the East Coast is riddled with Irishmen. And even in home territory, you couldn't deliver. You got your ass whooped for 4 rounds. Nobody want to see you go to fucking Russia to fight somebody. You won't get killed out there in more ways than one. Yeah, bro, like, Nicki Minaj retired. You know what I mean? Like, it's a sad ending to otherwise great career. And like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's like, yeah, I don't even know what to say else about it other than all right. You know what I mean? Like I get like I was such a fan of Nicki and Meek as a couple, and I don't know why they broke up. Things just happen. Who gives a shit? But like, I didn't expect Nicki to fall off the way she did, and Meek like take off the way he did. Like they broke up, and Meek's career skyrocketed upwards. I mean, he was already skyrocketing, but then like he they broke up, and then he did songs with Cardi, he did songs with a bunch of other people, him and Drake patched shit up, like they had a couple of songs come out together again, like it's just, his career is just taking off. He had the opening ceremony for the NFL, he performed, like yo, Meek's just killing it. I thought it was gonna be the opposite actually. I was like, yo, Nicki about to go kill it now that she's single, like she has all this emotion behind her, she's gonna come out with a banger of an album. And it was the exact opposite. Meek actually took that energy and was like, yo, I'm gonna do something positive with this. And then Nicki just looked at everybody as a threat. At one point she was dating Nas, and I was like, oh shit, she dating Nas? Like things is happening, and then nah, nothing is happening. So I don't know what's going on. Nor do I give a shit. But yeah, that's yeah. Who gives a shit about shitty retirements, right? I was gonna leave you guys on a fucking story, and I will never forget this story. I just want to leave this on a story because I just remembered it. I just remembered this story the other day, and I hope this doesn't go out in the middle of this story. I just remembered this story the other day, and I remember it was 7th grade. No. I'm sorry. It was 10th. It was summer. It was like 10th grade. It was summer before 10th grade or 10th grade, right? So we're like 16 years old. Yeah, we were definitely 16 years old because I was driving at that time. So it was a fresh 16. And then summer had just ended, and the school year has started, and over the summer, like me and a couple of the guys that I played club soccer with and played school soccer with, like we all went to summer camp together at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, UNC Tar Heels. They had a summer camp that we go to every year, and during the time, white boys, you know. And so these white boys was doing some wild shit. They were doing like this shit where they were putting Gold Bond on their ball sack because they said it felt good. They're like, yeah, just dust that shit with Gold Bond, bro. I don't know which is it, the anti-itch Gold Bond? I don't know which Gold Bond they were using. And then this other, I think it was the just the average, your regular Gold Bond to help with like pain or some shit. I don't know. And then this other motherfucker, this tiny kid that was there. I don't remember his name, but they dared him to put the icy hot on his balls, and he did it, and then he cried like a little bitch and went in the shower and tried to wash it off, and he was just like crying because the shit burned and so bad, apparently, right? So that happened over the summer. Cut to where school started. We're playing for school team and for club team, and we're at practice one day. God damn it. Was it practice or was it at a game? I think it was actually at a game. It was at a game. I can't remember. Maybe it was practice, but we're on the sidelines. We're chilling. I think it was like either halftime or something like that. We're all on the bench and we're talking and bullshitting. And my guy, there's two guys here. One guy, Sean Carter, Jay-Z. Sean Carter, the kid that I went to school with, I went to the camp with, I played on the club team with, right? He was on all three teams with me. And him, me, a couple other guys were talking, but the one that's most relevant is this kid, Chris Tordo. And Chris, shouts out to Chris Tordo, man. He's and free advertising for you, buddy. He's a phenomenal artist. He lives out in New York. He moved up there. He's in a part of a band called Oak and Ash. They make dope music. Because I will always promote artists on this platform if I can. He's a phenomenal artist, and he's part of a band. They're probably like working on music and going on tour soon. He lives out in New York. He does like paintings. He works with illegal mezcal, like alcohol. He does paintings for them, paints the bottles. He's a phenomenal artist. If you guys haven't checked him out, Chris Tordo Artist, you can find him on my IG, whatever. I love you, buddy. I bought a fucking, he used to do glass blowing at, and I bought a thing from him, few years ago, I bought like a glass blown original from him. But he's a really dope artist. Everybody should go check him out. And I need to actually talk to you, bro, because there's some stuff in the works that I want to collab with you with. So I'll definitely be in touch soonish. But so me, Chris, and Sean are on the sideline, and Sean's trying to explain to Chris about putting Gold Bond on your balls and how good it feels, right? And then Chris is looking at him like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dog?" And then all of a sudden Sean goes, "RJ, yo, tell him, bro. Remember?" And I was like, he was like, "Remember, Gold Bond on the balls. Doesn't that feel good?" And I was like, "Yo, you guys were all doing it, but I never did it, so I don't know if it feels good or not. But I do definitely remember you guys all putting Gold Bond on your balls at the soccer camp." And at one point, after saying that, and Sean turns back to Chris, he's like, "Dude, I swear to God, dude, it feels good." And Chris goes, "You know what else feels good? A girl's mouth on your balls. That also feels good." And at that moment, I was like, I remember he said that, and I turned to him and I was like, "Oh, this motherfucker's getting his dick sucked. Oh, goddamn." Like, everyone was just like, "Yo, Gold Bond on your balls." He's like, "You know what else feels good on your balls? A girl's mouth, you faggot." Like, is basically what he said. Oh, man. Oh, God. I remember I looked at him at that moment and I was like, "Oh, damn, Chris gets bitches." Oh, but that's a fucking hilarious story, man. And like, so, shouts out to Chris, man. You're doing your thing up in New York. Keep doing it. If I'm ever up there, you got to get on the podcast. Or if you ever come back down, or if you ever come over to here, this side of the country, if you ever go to Cali, LA, or whatever, let me know. I'll meet up with you, bro. But shouts out to you. And shouts out to everybody listening, man. I appreciate y'all. You guys are the shit. I appreciate you fucking with us week in and week out. New things coming, new shows. We got a second show. I got a very, very good surprise for you guys coming up soon that I got to let you know about. But until then, stay tuned. I appreciate y'all listening. Enjoy the laughs, enjoy the comedy, enjoy the sports podcast. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Till next time. Peace.